In the Demon Frog Cave on Vantai Mountain, a ridiculously handsome young man is frantically slaying demon frogs for one main purpose. It's not just to grind experience points, but to increase his magic resistance stat after 10 long years in the frog dungeon. After an intense grind, he finally maxed out his magic resistance stat, but why would our protagonist put himself through this? It was all to become strong enough to serve a beatdown to the evil mage who trapped him here and then escape this dangerous world. 10 years ago, our hero grinded a game for 3 days and 3 nights straight, risking future posterior problems, but with his noob skills, he saw no results and his character just got wrecked by the mage boss. After getting completely owned and defeated for the 99th time, Min was so tilted he couldn't help but curse out loud, wondering what kind of bastard designed this boss. Refusing to surrender to fate, Min decided to go one more round for revenge, and just then the system prompted him. It suggested a first-time purchase to skip the stage, but Min was all too familiar with these pay-to-win schemes and immediately refused. But that system pop-up gave him a bold idea, a way to clear the stage without paying. What was he waiting for? It was time to use a hack. Without a second thought, he logged into a cheat website where there were plenty of mods for him to choose from. Although he couldn't clear the stage legit when it came to hacking, he was the world's #1. He found a mod called Hidden Class Mage's Bane. The description read, "If you hate mages as much as I do, then this job class module with its super high magic resistance is a perfect fit for you." Min couldn't help but laugh out loud. He'd finally found the perfect hack. High magic resistance was exactly what he needed. That damn mage at the end of the stage killed me 99 times. This time I'll be the one doing the killing. He then clicked download. After the installation finished, something strange happened. While Min was wondering if he'd gotten a virus, an invisible hand grabbed him. It pulled him through the monitor, directly isekaiing him into another world. While he was completely bewildered, a familiar voice rang out. "Welcome, adventurer. This world was formed by 9 great celestial bodies, a place where gods and demons, law and power coexist." Min found this opening dialogue strangely familiar. If he remembered correctly, the next part would be about a planet that was destroyed for offending the gods, not to disappoint him. The system continued its narration. Your starting adventure point is Mistral, once a glorious civilization. Because it angered the heavens, it was bombarded by 19 magic orbs. For 3 days and 3 nights until it was leveled to the ground, this is a land forsaken by the gods and under its magical radiation. More and more humans and beasts have mutated into monsters. Humanity can only struggle to survive, and Min's heart shattered. As expected, he had really been isekai'd into the game. He started to panic, pleading, "Please, this isn't funny. I couldn't even beat the game, now I have to live it, which is so much worse. Please, just let me go back. I'll never use hacks again." The system was silent for about 3 seconds, and just when he thought it had taken pity on him, it coldly replied, "The adventure is about to begin." Before teleporting him to a remote location, Min woke with a start, seeing he was no longer floating in space. He breathed a sigh of relief. He rubbed his temples, thinking he'd just been dreaming due to his recent gaming addiction. A dream about being isekai'd into the game. If this dream continued, the next part would be his capture by the Thunder King Mage. A system notification popped up. Player Min, age 24, gender male, class Magebane, Knight level 1, stats strength 9, constitution 9, agility 11, perception 12, strategy 11, willpower 9, aptitudes. Initial skills: cautious start aura, vision, stealth and swift body technique. Life skills: herb gathering 20, climbing 20, skinning 25, and so on. Lake froze, staring at the system interface. He must be seeing things. He rubbed his eyes, hoping it was all an illusion, but no, the system screen was still there. He instinctively glanced around and saw a level 1 red-horned rat, a level 6 golden-feathered peng, an azure sea roaming dragon, and a crimson hawk. Dazed bears. Green, poison, lizards, all sorts of monsters from the game appeared, complete with their names and levels displayed. They were shown clearly before Lake's eyes. He was starting to get scared now. None of this was a dream. So did that mean in the real world? He was gone. What was he going to do when his parents found him missing? They would surely worry and then call the police. If that happened, his computer would be checked. While he was still panicking, a horde of crimson ghouls swarmed him like moths to a flame. They rushed in to bite his head off. But in a twist of fate, Lake was standing near the edge of a cliff, so both he and the ghouls took a nosedive straight down. He could only look at the sky and curse his terrible fate. Why, he had only clicked open a hack program. Did the world have to treat him this way? Besides, other transmigrators get to defy the heavens and change their destiny. But his isekai experience was a complete joke. Fine. Maybe if he died in this world, he could return home to his computer. My PC wait for me, but life is full of surprises. He was rescued by a young man and taken to Bronze Demon Town to be healed. While Lake was unconscious, he overheard people talking about him. This guy's clothes are weird, and we don't know anything about his background. Why did you bring him into town? If you had been at the scene, you would have made the same choice I did. Oh, this guy is special or something. He single-handedly wiped out dozens of crimson ghouls. Are you serious? It's absolutely true. The young man began to recount. At that time, I was escorting a food shipment through an area where ghouls often cause chaos. The air, which is usually noisy, was eerily quiet. Looking around, I found a young man wearing only a single set of clothes sitting amidst a pile of ghoul corpses. From his posture and the scene itself, he must have fought a fierce battle against the ghouls. His stamina was depleted, which is why he had fallen asleep right there. To have such skill at such a young age and a righteous heart to boot is truly amazing. Lake, lying nearby, finally understood everything. Because of his swift body class skill, even though he fell from a cliff, he didn't die. Plus, landing on the corpses of the crimson ghouls cushioned his fall. This kind of luck is what a transmigrator is supposed to have. After everyone else left, only the young man who rescued him remained to watch over him. Lake faked a cough and pretended to wake up, then said to the man, Thank you. The young man was surprised. You know me. Lake then realized his slip of the tongue. After a moment of awkwardness, he scratched his head and sheepishly replied, The captain of the Bronze Demon Town Guard, who around here doesn't know you. Oh, am I that famous? You're amazing. Hearing the praise. Ken no longer had any doubts. He grinned from ear to ear. Protecting the town and keeping its people safe is my duty. You don't need to admire me that much. Lake remained silent, his face a mixture of 3 parts helplessness and 7 parts exasperation. If he were to tell the man that in this game the starting village on every planet has a minor guard named Ken, it would crush the guy's ego, and from that day on, Lake blended in with the townspeople naturally. At the same time, he also got the hang of visiting the various shops in town to buy suitable equipment. Since there's no way back, I can only get stronger myself. That final boss gate had already caused my defeat. If I still can't get out, then I'll just clear this game first and worry about it later. With that thought, Lucky had immediately set off. A job module named Ha-Yun had been transported along with him. By killing a monster marked with the sin symbol, he could obtain that monster's special attribute. Lakiet decided to give it a try. After marking a monster with the sin symbol, he hid in a corner. Now, all he had to do was kill it to get the attribute reward. Since it was his first time, he couldn't help but feel nervous. After gathering all his courage, he rushed out and stabbed the tiny monster to death with his sword. The system immediately displayed a notification, defeated level 1 forest worm, received 1 EXP. You have defeated a total of 1 forest worm. Received attribute reward, faster dead skin growth rate. Lakiet was stunned. What the heck kind of bizarre attribute was that? After racking his brain for a while, Lakiet finally understood the issue. Killing different monsters would grant different attributes. If he could find the right ones, he could become invincible. If that was the case, he would go on a monster-slaying rampage. No sooner said than done. Lakiet immediately set off to hunt down some monsters of the same type. But tragically, all he received were completely useless garbage-tier attributes. If this kept up, I'll get completely wrecked by the boss. What should I do? A dejected Lakiet slumped to the ground. Coincidentally, just then, a frog hopped by. It was instantly crushed to death by Lakiet's butt. The system announced, defeated a young demon frog. Level 1. Magic resistance slightly increased. Only then did Lakiet realize he had just flattened a demon frog. He couldn't contain his emotions as 2 streams of tears rolled down his cheeks. Thank you, little frog. You sacrificed your life to guide me. How could I possibly give up now? From this day forward, I will farm your entire family. I swear I won't let your noble sacrifice be in vain 10 years later. Lakiet had successfully maxed out his magic resistance attribute. The game officially began. Lakiet returned to the town of Dongma. He stared at the quest board for a moment, then grabbed a wanted poster for the Thilai Yu. He headed to the registration desk, and upon arriving, he saw a young girl adamantly insisting on joining the hunt for the Thilai Yu. The receptionist refused her request, explaining that the Thilai Yu was too dangerous. While it's true that any monster can be defeated no matter how strong, he couldn't let a young, inexperienced girl throw her life away. Lakiet recognized her instantly. It was Dorothy Khan's younger sister. Just as he was about to call out to her, Dorothy asked the receptionist, "Then, when will I be able to avenge my brother?" At the mention of Khan, memories of him came flooding back into Lakiet's mind. He was the kind-hearted boy who had helped Lakiet survive the difficult times when he had first been isekai'd here. Lakiet had nowhere to stay, and it was Khan who invited him to live with him and his sister. He even frequently invited him to go monster hunting together. But before Lakiet could ever repay his kindness, Khan was mortally wounded by the Thilai Yu. Before he passed away, he made a single request to look after Dorothy. "Don't worry," Lakiet vowed. "I will take care of her. And I will personally slay the Thilai Yu to avenge you." Lakiet held Khan in his arms, his eyes filled with burning rage. It was at that moment he realized the profound malice this so-called game held. As a transmigrator, Lakiet's 6 major stats, while slightly higher than an average person's, were nothing compared to those of other adventurers. Equally pathetic in this game, he was nothing more than a juicy target, which is why before. Whenever someone invited him to hunt monsters, he always found a way to avoid it, so he couldn't let his guard down and had to be extremely cautious. Developing and accumulating power was the only way to get a chance to turn the tables. Now 10 years have passed, and Lakiet is no longer the same person. This was the ripe moment for his counterattack. While Lakiet was lost in thought, the quest receptionist saw him. Seeing him, the man couldn't help but be overjoyed and asked him to persuade Doro. The little girl from back then had now grown into a beautiful young woman. Hearing Lakiet's name, she turned to look at him, her voice tinged with stubbornness. "Are you here to persuade me too? Don't bother." Keat shook his head, then turned to the receptionist and said, "I also want to sign up for the Shilla Demon Subjugation quest." The receptionist was stunned. After a moment of silence, he finally agreed to let them register, but to prevent adventurers. From underestimating the target's power, they added a prerequisite: quest. Completing that quest is required to receive detailed information about the Shilla Demon. The mission is to eliminate the Crimson Tide Corpse King. Lakiet didn't hesitate to set out on the mission. With just a few basic moves, he eliminated 3 level 4 Crimson Tide corpses. His pain resistance attribute also increased. He couldn't help but feel intrigued by this new type of attribute. It's just a shame that Crimson Tide corpses don't have the reproductive ability of demon frogs, otherwise maxing out his pain resistance attribute would have been possible. Lakiet saw in the distance. His aura vision technique showed blood patterns rising. It seemed there were many monsters in the canyon ahead. Perhaps the Crimson Tide Corpse King was there too. Lakiet immediately ran over to check the situation, so engrossed in killing monsters that he completely forgot his meeting with Doro earlier. He had told her that although the Crimson Tide corpses were not on par with the Shilla Demon, they were still level 5 elite monsters, and not preparing would lead to great losses, so he would go prepare weapons and told Doro to prepare potions and meet at the pumpkin patch in 1 hour. Doro waited at the meeting spot for a whole hour and still didn't see him. Anywhere frustrated, she yelled, "That bastard Lakiet tricked me again," returning to our protagonist after arriving at the location. Lakiet saw many Crimson Tide corpses gathered here. This was indeed their lair. It was just a pity that their numbers weren't large. There were only about 30 of them. The blood aura inside the tent was the thickest. The Corpse King must be sleeping in there, but Lakiet felt something was wrong. Crimson Tide corpses have no souls or intelligence. How could they build a tent? Could it be that the Corpse King has evolved high-level intelligence? Already wiping out this horde of monsters seemed harder than expected. After a moment of thought, an idea flashed through Lakiet's mind. He pulled out a vial from his bag, a high-concentration lightning element polymer. This was a product he crafted himself. It creates an explosion with an 80 by 4 meter electrical damage radius. This small vial contains high-concentration lightning element extracted from the saliva of nearly 1,000 demon frogs. Lakiet lovingly caressed the vial in his hand. My good friend, I'm counting on you now. First, he pushed a cart full of high-quality horned boar meat as bait. After the Crimson Tide corpses gathered to eat, he immediately threw the lightning element vial, blowing them to bits. The system immediately announced that Lakiet had eliminated 28 Crimson Tide corpses and his resistance attribute. Increased, eliminating 28 of them in one go, as expected of Mr. Frog. Truly reliable, huh? Wait a minute, why isn't there an announcement for eliminating an elite monster? Just as Lakiet finished his thought, from within the rubble caused by the explosion, a hideous monster. The beast appeared instantly. It stared at Lakiet with blood-red eyes, then extended its claws for a massive swipe towards him. But luckily, Lakiet's agility stat was high enough to dodge that attack in the nick of time, but he couldn't help feeling annoyed. Damn it! This monster had already been struck by a lightning element skill, but the beast took a deep breath and then unleashed a cloud of poison mist. The mist covered a huge area of effect. Lakiet smirked confidently. The acid mist skill is truly powerful, as expected of an elite monster. Too bad for it, he had already maxed out his magic resistance stat, so this skill wouldn't even scratch him. But, just as Lakiet took a breath, his face turned pale. He couldn't stop himself from gagging. How many years has this thing's stench been building up? How can its breath be that foul? While Lakiet was distracted, the Crimson Tide Corpse King snuck up behind him, grabbing him in its palm. You've got some skills, little adventurer. You're not even afraid of my acid mist. No wonder you dared to solo this dungeon. Hearing the Crimson Tide Corpse King speak, Lakiet couldn't help but be impressed. Whoa, it can actually talk. I never expected your intelligence stat to be so high. I guess it's not surprising my lightning element skill couldn't one-shot you. There must be a hidden mechanic at play, but my skills go beyond what you can predict, the Corpse King declared. The Crimson Tide Corpse King's hand began to inflate like a balloon, growing to a massive size before it suddenly detonated. With this level gap, who could possibly withstand my corpse explosion skill? The Crimson Tide Corpse King said smugly, but just when it thought Lakiet had been sent to his respawn point, his silhouette reappeared in the hazy smoke, his voice tinged with disappointment. You gave me a scare, but it turns out it's still just a magic attack, though this skill is genuinely impressive. I'm really curious how you managed it. Your entire being inside and out reeks of such a disgusting stench. The Crimson Tide Corpse King was baffled. Stinks. My ultimate attack is just stinky to you? Isn't it obvious? Lakiet replied innocently. Sure enough, that line dealt 0 physical damage, but max-level mental damage. Embarrassed and enraged, the Crimson Tide Corpse King devoured a nearby corpse. Its level instantly jumped to level 7. Die you, freelance adventurer, facing such a massive level gap. All your skills are useless, it screamed as it madly charged at Lakiet. Level suppression in this game. High-level players get nerfed EXP and loot drops for killing low-level mobs, so I always suppressed my level specifically to farm magic resistance. All the experience points I've been hoarding are finally coming in handy. Lakiet flashed a cheeky grin. He then dumped all his stored experience points into leveling up successfully, jumping from level 5 to level 8, much to the absolute jaw-dropping shock of the Crimson Tide Corpse King. My bad. I accidentally over-leveled you by just a little bit. Lakiet gave the Crimson Tide Corpse King a friendly smile. At this point, the Crimson Tide Corpse King could only weep in utter despair. This run is totally over for me, isn't it? After defeating the Crimson Tide Corpse King, Lakiet gained 80 experience points and a first kill bonus. For defeating an elite monster, he unlocked a new achievement, the title, Voice as Sharp as a Blade. His pain resistance stat also increased slightly. Lakiet quickly entered the Crimson Tide Corpse King's lair to loot the spoils, but unexpectedly it smelled even worse inside than the boss itself, making Lakiet almost give up. But then he thought of the countless frog bros who sacrificed themselves for him. What's a little stench compared to their sacrifice? So he endured. And state system notification popped up. You have obtained 60,000 copper and 1 small silver ingot. I'm rich. 2. Copper can buy a single apple. A few copper coins could buy a small pig's head. 200 could get you some high-quality equipment and a small silver ingot. After enduring for 10 years, he never expected to hit the jackpot in his first battle after coming down from the mountain. So this is the joy of having money, huh? Just as Lakiet was on cloud 9, he noticed an ancient ring in an old drawer. The system immediately displayed its stats. Suicide magic ring, mid-tier B+ rank with the magic spell. Burning Tempest. Burning Tempest is a level 2 spell that, centering on the ring, forms 3 vortexes that incinerate all life. Within its range, the activation chant is Mika's 9th curse with a restriction of once per day affecting all life in the vicinity. No wonder it's called the Suicide Magic Ring to have such a powerful spell. This was practically made for me, hehe, but the apprentice mages in Bronze Demon Town don't seem to know about the activation chant, the 9th curse. Perhaps someone at the gem shop in the city might know. I'll put it away for now and figure it out later. After cleaning up, he went to the meeting spot to see Dorothy and told her everything that had just happened. So while I was gathering herbs, I ran into the red Hunter, and Tide Corpse King, and then I conveniently wiped them all out. Dorothy's cheeks puffed out and her eyes went wide as she exclaimed, "You've got to be kidding me!" Then he patted her head to soothe her. "Hey, don't be mad. I wanted to fight side by side with you, but it was a rare opportunity, and besides, I also wanted to test my own strength a bit." Dorothy huffed, but seeing he was safe and sound, she said this time, I'll reluctantly, "Forgive you. It's just I never expected you could defeat that monster horde all by yourself. It's truly surprising, but this is good. It means our chances of defeating the Shura demon are even higher." "Don't worry, we will definitely succeed," Lakiet replied decisively. Lakiet went to the town's forge to buy some supplies, and as soon as the blacksmith Miller saw him, he said cheerfully, "I figured you'd show up today. This morning at least 10 people told me you defeated the Red Tide. Corpse King, hey. It was just luck. By the way, Miller is the stuff I wanted ready yet. Of course, take a look." With that, Miller opened the weapon cabinet for Lakiet to see. Inside were 3 types of weapons, including the Crimson Moon Blade, the Azure Axe Sword, and the Violet Crystal Bow. And they were all S-rank quality equipment. At a glance, you could tell it was high-end gear, and what's more, each one had a special skill. They were absolutely top tier. Lakiet's eyes lit up as he picked up the Crimson Moon Blade to admire it. Miller pointed to a corner and told Lakiet, "There's some scrap wood over here. You can give it a test run." Lakiet hesitated a little. "Are you sure I haven't fully grasped the power of this blade yet? That's exactly why you need to test it." "All right then, I'll test out the slash skill. If the Crimson Moon Blade gets damaged, don't you worry about it." Miller laughed heartily. "As long as you guys can successfully defeat the Shura demon and reduce the number of missing people, forget a little wood. I wouldn't even mind if you destroyed this whole house." Boom. No sooner had Miller finished his sentence than half of his house was blown away by Lakiet's slash while Miller was completely petrified. Lakiet stood by, thrilled with the Crimson Moon Blade. "This thing is insane." Just then, Dorothy appeared. "Lakiet, so this is where you were?" "Dorothy, your timing is perfect. Come check out my new weapon." "Really?" "Perfect timing. I have something good to show you, too," Dorothy said with a smile, holding up the documents in her hand. "It's the intel on the Shura demon and the roster for the subjugation squad. You've already recruited the team members so quickly. That goes without saying. Are you underestimating my abilities?" Dorothy was happy to elaborate on the plan. She detailed the raid party members and their specific roles. The subjugation squad consists of 35 people in total, including 3 members. For the Vanguard, 19 for support and 13 for the main assault force. Among the main attackers are 2 adventurers who are level 10 or higher. The rest of the main force also consists of the most outstanding young adventurers in town. For this conquest, we are determined to win. On the march, Dorothy briefed Lakir on the strategy for dealing with the corpse fiends. The fiends are incredibly cunning, and the monsters near their lair serve as their eyes and ears. With their small force, they can only rely on their wits to launch a surprise attack. First, they must eliminate the surrounding plague beasts. Next is the Serpent's Head, and finally the mine to the south, which is a mountain away from the corpse fiend's lair. Before long, the subjugation squad arrived at the White Bone Tower. They just needed to destroy its 2 final sentinels, and they could advance directly into the lair. However, the Spectre guards in the White Bone Tower are extremely alert, making it difficult for the subjugation squad to infiltrate undetected. A direct assault would easily stir the hornet's nest. When Dorothy turned to ask for Lakir's opinion, he had already vanished. A member of the party suddenly shouted, pointing ahead, "There's movement. It's Lakir." All eyes turned to see Lakir chasing a goblin. A few people in the squad began to grumble in annoyance. What is that guy doing? Is he trying to play the hero at a time like this? Just then, an adventurer spoke up to defend Lakier. No, he's covering for a companion's mistake. That goblin ran into the white bone tower. Once it draws the attention of the Spectre guards, our plan is practically a success. Lakier, with a single sword strike, finished off the goblin. The attribute he acquired this time was accelerated nose hair growth. Lakier couldn't help but shudder, vowing to himself that he would never kill this type of monster again. A Spectre turned to look in Lakier's direction, but luckily he had ducked behind a tree trunk and wasn't spotted. He began to feel a headache coming on. The Spectre guards can sense the presence of life. If he made any move, he would be instantly exposed. What am I supposed to do? A member of the party saw this and couldn't help but worry. He's drawn the attention of the Spectre guards. Should we send someone to provide cover? Dorothy immediately stopped them. Doing that will just expose our position even faster. We just need to stay quiet and watch him work. Lakier used his bow of shadows to fire an arrow into the sky. At that moment, he unfortunately stepped on a twig. Hearing the noise, the Spectre guard let out a shriek. But before it could react, the arrow Lakier had just shot arced down and struck it, killing it on the spot. Lakier jumped for joy. I knew it. I got a new skill, pinpoint shot. It's hard to miss even if I tried. Next I have to quickly deal with the Spectre guards inside the tower. Without hesitation, Lakier went straight inside. Dorothy stood by, unable to contain her happiness. This is great, as expected. Lakier never disappoints me. Don't celebrate too soon. According to our intel, there are at least 3 Spectre guards in the tower. With 1 dead outside, the Spectre guards inside are surely on alert. Facing a Spectre that's on guard is no easy feat. Before he could finish, the dark-haired young man fell silent, staring wide-eyed ahead. Everyone followed his gaze and saw the flag of Bronze Demon Town fluttering atop the tower. The subjugation squad erupted in an uproar. No way, Lakier actually took the tower by himself. That guy is an absolute monster. If that's the case, let's move out quickly to the eastern tower. If you get the Sheila Demon's Eye, you can easily enter the lair and set out. You have defeated 3 Guardian Spirits. Your Flying Dagger skill speed has slightly increased. You have defeated 2 Skull Soldiers. Your Fear Resistance attribute has slightly increased. Lakier felt completely let down by the rewards. Just this stuff, I should have expected it. After all, it's just a tower, so it's only logical that there's nothing here. As Lakier scanned his surroundings, his aura observation technique revealed something in a nearby cave. He thought he might be able to score some good loot. Lakier cautiously entered the cave, but the deeper he ventured, the more a horrific stench filled the air. It was even worse than the breath of the Crimson Tide. Corpse King. Soon he spotted a large tarp. Thinking it concealed valuable items, Lakier excitedly ran over and yanked it back, only to be horrified. There wasn't any loot, just a pile of gory human remains. A terrified Lakier stumbled backward. He bumped into a wooden cabinet, causing the doors to fly open. Looking inside, Lakier's blood ran cold for the second time. No way! Could these be completely flayed human skins? Could it be that all the people who had gone missing from Dongma Town over the years had been brought here to be flayed? At this thought, a burning rage filled Lakier's heart. When he played this as a game, he never felt it. But now that he was actually living in this isekai world, experiencing such a gruesome scene firsthand truly made him sick to his stomach. Suddenly, a ball of light flew towards Lakier and exploded. From the shadows, a sadistic laugh echoed out. You couldn't even dodge an attack like that. Looks like you're so scared your legs have turned to jelly. Adventurer? Adventurers these days are such low-tier players, but I'll admit your build isn't half bad. Nice lines, a well-proportioned waist. Turn around. Let me get a good look at you from the front. A blood mage. Acolyte slowly approached Lakier. Without hesitation, he turned to face him. Heh, such a sturdy young man. Your skin must be incredibly tough. The blood mage acolyte praised with a click of his tongue. Lakier's expression turned grim as he asked coldly, Did you do all of this? Oh, you mean these materials? What do you think? My handiwork is pretty good, isn't it? Lakier used him as a punching bag, landing blow after blow. He didn't miss a single punch. The blood mage, Acolyte, repeatedly begged for mercy, but it was useless. It was only when the mage changed his face to that of a little girl that Lackey finally paused. Seizing the opportunity, the blood mage Acolyte unleashed a magic attack on Lackey, causing a massive explosion. An earth-shattering explosion erupted. The blood mage, Acolyte, stared at the massive inferno before him and smiled sadistically. "I don't know what kind of skill you used to resist my bone-softening magic, but this Tier 2 spell, which cost my own life force to cast, has destructive power nearing Tier 3. No matter what kind of OP skill you have, you'll have to submit to me now." "I'm not sure if this spell's destructive power is Tier 3, a voice said, "but the price to be paid is definitely the lifespan of yours." Laquiette emerged from the flames looking totally badass. Then, without another word, he sent the blood mage Acolyte straight to the afterlife. After defeating him, Laquiette received 5 XP87 coins, 13 magic scrolls, a scroll pouch, and a vial of dragon acid and a common magic cord. Most importantly, he obtained an encyclopedia of common incantations. From Mitra, having this encyclopedia meant he could finally learn the activation incantation for the self-destruct magic ring. Despite the great loot, he couldn't feel any joy. In this brutal world, there was no time for celebration. As someone who had been slaying demons in the newbie zone for 10 years, Laquiette had almost forgotten just how cruel this world could be, even though he was now. Immune to magic, but in this world where danger lurks everywhere, safety is never guaranteed. This world never goes easy on the weak, so he had to grind to get stronger every single day. And while Laquiette was taking care of the blood mage apprentice, the subjugation squad was being pursued by a horde of monsters and was forced to retreat to preserve their forces, but unexpectedly what lay ahead of them was a dense thorn forest. Entering without proper protective gear was a one-way ticket to death. Trapped with no way forward or back, what were they to do? A squad member asked anxiously. Right at that moment, the monster horde caught up to them. Meanwhile, Laquiette, after finishing off, the blood mage apprentice arrived at the rendezvous point only to find not a single soul in sight, which made Laquiette feel a bit uneasy. Dorothy's party should have been here by now. Something was off. The flag of Bronze Demon Town was already flying from the southern tower. Just then, he spotted an image sphere. What was an item like this doing in the middle of nowhere? It must have been left by Dorothy. As he approached, the image sphere activated, replaying a message from Dorothy. Laquiette, the Tilla demon, has escaped towards the boneyard. We absolutely cannot let it escape. We're giving chase now, so hurry and catch up. Fled. Could it be that the Tilla demon knew about the subjugation squad's raid in advance? Is that why it left early? No, that demonic logic is unbelievable. Besides, if it truly wanted to escape the boneyard next to the giant thorn forest is definitely not the prime escape route. Unless... Realizing this, Laquiette became even more anxious and immediately rushed after them. At the same time, the subjugation squad was locked in a desperate battle with the monster horde. A giant monster swung a devastating blow toward Dorothy, but she was lucky enough to dodge it. Dorothy, are you okay? I'm fine. Terry, how about you? I'm all right. The combat power of these skeleton soldiers is a pretty low level. It's just that while Terry was distracted for a moment, he was struck in the back by a skeleton soldier. The other party members saw this and immediately rushed to his aid. One provided cover while another started healing his wound. Terry continued what he was saying earlier. It's just their numbers are overwhelming. We can't possibly defeat them all for everyone we take down. 2 more spawn from the ground. My weapon's durability is about to hit 0. A young man in the vanguard agreed. The others also began to panic. After hours of fighting, the number of skeleton soldiers had now doubled from when they started. If this continues, even if the skeleton soldiers don't kill us, we'll die from stamina drain. It was then that Dorothy finally realized her mistake. We fell right into their trap. They weren't fleeing at all. They deliberately lured our party here. I was the one who underestimated the Tila demon, and now everyone is in this dangerous situation. The giant monster suddenly switched its aggro and charged Dorothy. She dodged the first attack, but by the second one her stamina was completely drained and she couldn't move Dorothy now at last. Finally understood the desperate plight her brother faced all those years ago. But to think she couldn't even get his revenge. She couldn't accept this fate. Just as Dorothy resigned herself to her fate, a massive explosion erupted from behind the giant monster sending countless skeleton soldiers flying. The members of the subjugation squad were completely shocked. What was that? I don't know. Behind the skeleton soldiers, a massive explosion just went off. Is it a new enemy? No, it seems like they're on our side. From within the flames. Oh, familiar voice rang out, boosting the party's morale. Everyone, get your fighting spirit back, especially. I will never allow you to give up. The heavens above are watching us. Do you want me to become a man who breaks his promise? As he finished speaking, he unleashed his ultimate skill, Blazing Storm. The attack roasted the horde of monsters. Dorothy heard the voice and immediately recognized it as Lakit's, and the whole subjugation squad was stunned. Their eyes widened in shock. What you're saying, that's Lakit? No way, that's impossible. Even from this far away, we feel like we're about to be roasted alive. If we were in there, not even a single hair would be left. Besides him, I can't think of anyone else who could do this, Dorothy replied. A moment later, the entire skeleton legion was wiped out. The subjugation squad was even more bewildered. How could that kind of power incinerate the entire skeleton army that had us cornered? Is that really Lakit? They couldn't believe it. Dorothy decided to enter the smoldering aftermath to confirm if that person was truly Lakit. Total skeleton soldiers eliminated 100. You have received a new milestone, Bones to Ash. Your fear, resistance attribute has been significantly increased. You really have to turn the enemy's bones to ash. Who knows if they can resurrect or not, Lakit muttered to himself. Just then, Dorothy entered. She walked up, patted his shoulder, and then let out a scream of pure shock. Hearing her scream, her teammates outside rushed in, pointing their swords at Lakit and yelling, "Don't move! Who the hell are you?" Lakit, now with only a scrap of cloth to cover himself, awkwardly turned and said, "Everyone, calm down. It's me." The fire was so intense it burned all my clothes off. This is so embarrassing. The subjugation squad was left completely speechless. The red-haired young man in the group kindly offered his own clothes to Lakit, who happily accepted them, thanking him profusely. "Thanks, man. This outfit fits perfectly, brother." The red-haired man smiled and replied, "Don't mention it. If it weren't for you, we would have been buried in that sea of bones by now. We can't just let our life-saving benefactor go home with his butt hanging out." Everyone on the team heard this and couldn't help but chuckle. Dorothy excitedly ran up to Locket with a look of pure adoration on her face. "Lakit, you're just too amazing. How did you do that? In a single moment, everything was turned to ash, even the corpse ghoul was completely helpless. It wasn't me being amazing. It was just a fluke." "Wait a minute, you said there was a corpse ghoul in that horde." Of course there was. Why, Dorothy looked at Locket confused. Lakit fell silent. Something's not right. Even though Blazing Storm is a Tier 2 spell, it shouldn't be powerful enough to destroy a corpse ghoul. Plus, the system didn't notify me about defeating one. Suddenly, Lakit's aura sight activated, indicating a presence not far from him. This proved there was still a monster nearby. He told everyone to stay put and rest while he went to check it out. Sure enough, in the ruins, the lingering aura of a monster remained. Suddenly, a hand shot out, grabbed Locket, and pulled him into the smoke. Hearing the commotion, the subjugation squad rushed over to help, but the ground beneath them suddenly turned into quicksand, making them completely immobile. A monster slowly emerged and warned them, "Don't move. This is called the Moat of Decay. The more you struggle, the faster you sink. Once you're submerged, you'll be corroded and eventually become a skeleton." "Soldier." The subjugation squad stared at the monster in terror. Could this be the real corpse ghoul? So many fine specimens. It would be a terrible waste to lose them. Hearing the corpse ghoul's taunt, Terry couldn't hold back anymore. He retorted, "I heard Lackett say that everyone captured over the past few years was skinned by you, you shameless demon. Even if I am buried alive, I will not suffer the humiliation of being skinned by you." Terry had just finished his defiant shout when he was silenced. The demon used its grotesque hand to slash off his head in one clean strike so noisy, who would want your old wrinkled skin anyway? "It is not up to standard. Let me see who else is low-tier loot there are," the demon said, sizing up the members of the subjugation squad. Just then, Dorothy flung a dagger at his face. "Therar, the demon. What did you do to Lackett?" "Therar, The demon looked at her, and then said cheerfully, "Ah, the supple, youthful skin of a young maiden. Forgive my clumsy eyes for not spotting such a high-quality item. If that is the case, there is no point in keeping this shoddy grade leather around, is there, Dorothy?" The others. The remaining party members were all buried under the sand by Thirar. The demon, Dorothy, watched her comrades disappear, powerless to do anything. Her eyes filled with tears before she turned to face Thirar the demon with a look of pure hatred. "You monster! I will fight you." Thirar said, "Do not be in such a hurry. Come home with me, and we can fight all you want. Hold on." Dorothy and Thirar, the demon, both turned toward the source of the sound. They saw Lackett slowly rising from the quicksand, striking a supermodel pose, and then casting a flirtatious glance at Thirar, the demon, perfect. Flawless, translucent skin sparkling like snow. So delicate a breath could shatter it. "How could you not see me, Lackett? It is you, Dorothy and Thirar." The demon exclaimed in unison to take a stroll through the Milky Way pit and not be corroded at all. "You truly are a first-rate talent. It is a shame you are on the wrong side, so I can only send you on your way." Thirar, the demon, could not help but offer some praise, but the other two paid him no mind. Lackett pulled Dorothy out of the sandpit as she cried non-stop. "Lackett, you scared me to death. I thought I would never see you again." Lackett patted her head comfortingly. "Silly girl, how could I bear to leave you to face this danger alone?" But everyone else sank into the Milky Way pit. "I am afraid they are already." Dorothy trailed off. "Do not worry, everyone is fine. I pulled them all out on my way up, and another thing from now on, I forbid you from recklessly risking your life. You must survive at all costs, even when I am not by your side, because that is how we can meet again." "Yes, Thirar." The demon, who was suddenly forced to witness this public display of affection, was quite displeased. "You still have the nerve to flirt? Do you have any idea who you are facing? Of course, ever since Kane passed away, I have thought of you constantly. After so many years, I have finally found you another cliché revenge story, if your obsession has driven you mad. Then I will be merciful and send you to meet him." Lackett growled through his teeth. "I was thinking the same thing, except I want to send you down there to apologize to him in person." Lackett gripped the crimson moon in his hand, ready for battle. Black ring? "I never imagined you would force me to use my full power. Let us see just how much skill you really possess. Do not disappoint me, kid." Lackett charged forward, attacking Thirar. The demon with a crimson moon / Thirar, the demon stood. The demon, still letting Lackett strike him, his mouth constantly assessing level 8, but that slash deals double the damage. A little interesting. "I suppose you barely qualify as my opponent with that." He began his counterattack, swinging his demonic claw towards Lackett. The ground cracked and shattered into large chunks, but Lackett was nowhere to be seen. "Where are you looking?" Lackett had somehow circled behind Thirar the demon, using his skill, Rain of Death arrows, with perfect accuracy, aiming straight at him, but with a single wave of his hand all the arrows were split in two. Faced with such a massive power gap, what good is perfect accuracy? The Tila demon said smugly. "It's not over yet." Lakiet used the Crimson Moon for a direct assault, but the Tila demon caught it with his bare hands, leaving Lakiet utterly shocked. Just how powerful is this monster? Such pathetic talent. This lord is getting bored. The Tila demon grabbed the Crimson Moon saber, then channeled his power and shattered it into fragments. Lakiet quickly retreated to avoid injury. It's this lord's turn to counterattack Bako Tula. Thousands of arms with razor-sharp claws shot towards Lakiet at a dizzying speed, leaving him no time to react. He took the full brunt of the Tila demon's attack. The Tila demon looked at the rubble before him, somewhat disappointed, saying, "You couldn't even take one move. I thought you might give me a different kind of challenge, but the result is the same." System notification: level up. Your level has increased to level 9. Your level has increased to level 10. Your level has increased to level 11. Your level has increased to level 12. Lakiet cashed in his experience points, leveling up straight from level 9 to level 12. An earth-shattering explosion erupted, much to the Tila demon's astonishment. His level can jump to 12. So that's his game, suppressing his level to hoard experience points. Besides conserving his true power, it also deceives the enemy. A massive level jump in the late phase of a battle to capitalize on the sudden surge of stats for a finishing blow. A brilliant strategy, but unfortunately for you, the one you're facing is me. Lakiat smirked mysteriously. You're only half right. Against a typical elite monster, I would only need to use the stat bonuses from leveling up. But against a high-tier monster like you, I have to act within 1 minute after each level up. The Hidden Rogue's Power. Accumulation attribute increased to level 4, adding 4 more stacks of power on top of the 4 stacks from my specialization. The Crimson Moon, saber in my hand, has now accumulated 8 stacks of power. Huh, you think it's all talk, don't you? Let me give you a taste of 900% power. As soon as he finished speaking, Lakiat swung the Crimson Moon saber and cleanly severed one of the Tilla demon's arms. The demon clutched its wound, collapsing to the ground in agony. Who in the world are you? Not only are your skills so bizarre, but you can also shrug off my attacks, this hidden rogue class. I've never even heard of it. Lakiat coldly replied, Don't waste your breath. You only need to know one thing about me. I'm the one who's going to send you to your grave. You've gone too far. Even if I die, I'm dragging both of you with me. The Tila demon gathered its energy, preparing to fire a blast towards Lakiat. This move struck Lakiat as odd. Does he really think a direct attack like this could possibly hit me? That's just underestimating me too much. Just then, he suddenly glanced over at Dorothy and realized the Tila demon was targeting Dorothy as well. If he dodged this, Dorothy would take the full force of the blow. The only option was to take the hit himself. Man, seriously. That Dorothy chick is a real liability. If you're not going to be useful, at least get out of the way so others can fight. Instead, she's just standing there spectating like a ghoul. Boom, Lakiat took the full force of the Tila demon's attack. The strange part was that it was clearly a magic-based attack, but he still felt the physical pain. Seeing the twisted expression on Lakiat's face, the Tila demon broke into a gleeful smile. What's the matter? I thought you could dodge everything. So what if you gained 10 more levels? I still have countless ways to make you suffer. Purgatory. Asura Claw. Tens of thousands of arms appeared, aiming straight for Lakiat. How foolish you already know this skill. Your skills are useless against me, and you still dare to fight. Let's see how long you can last. Still struggling at death's door. For all the innocent people who died, I will avenge them. Rest in peace. Luo Jai poured all his strength into this final strike. Success. He made the Sheila demon vanish. The demon clearly couldn't have executed a slash. The Sheila demon only managed to utter one last phrase before gradually disappearing. Quest complete. Luo Jai was overjoyed. Just then, the dead-weight Dodo came running over to check on him. Luo Jai, are you okay? Luo Jai smiled and replied, I'm fine. This kind of attack can't possibly hurt me, but your mouth is bleeding. Look, maybe it's from the physical shock. No, wait, your stomach is bleeding so much. Only then did Luo Jai notice his abdomen. He had a very deep wound caused by the Sheila demon's earlier attack. Luo Jie looked up, grinding his teeth in fury. This treacherous bastard, he must have realized my high magic resistance stat early on. That's why he hid physical spikes within his magic. No wonder he kept saying it was impossible. Thankfully, I had the support of my pain resistance stat. If not, I would have never been able to land that final blow. This damned game, I originally thought I could use my gaming experience to breeze through it. But ever since I was isekai'd here, I've realized the game's content and the original version are worlds apart. Not only is there a ton of new content, but even the simple starting mobs have become much stronger. This whole thing feels like it was developed just to torture me. Luoji couldn't hold on any longer and collapsed. He immediately fell into a deep coma. Luo, wake up. The sun's already up. Luoji was lying on a bed. Hearing that, he reflexively shot his eyes open and panicked. I'm late for school. What time is it? Then he quickly sat up. Huh? This leg. This lamp. A PS5. A computer. His eyes fell upon familiar objects, making him wonder, this is my room. Did I get unisekai'd back home? Just as Luo Jai was trying to process everything, a woman came in from behind him carrying a tray of food. My little devil, you're finally awake, huh? Hurry up and eat your breakfast. This voice? It's Luo Jie. Heard his mother's voice and, unable to contain his emotions, hugged her and burst into tears. Mom, I missed you so much. Luo Jai's mother patted his shoulder. My silly boy. What are you talking about? Luo Jai didn't answer and instead asked, Where's Dad? I miss him too, Luo Jai's mother replied. Your father still has 1 hour left of his oil pan punishment. Maybe if you go over there you can see him. After hearing this, Luo Ji was completely bewildered. What punishment, Luo Ji's mother calmly explained. Ever since you disappeared without a word, your father drank constantly. One day, he accidentally fell from a building taking out 3 innocent teenagers. The king of the underworld sentenced your father for the crime of murder to the oil pan punishment. As for me, because I lost everything in one night, I chose to end my own life with poison. Although taking your own life is also a form of murder, it's punished less severely, so I arrived here earlier than your father. Luo Ji looked up and saw his mother's bloodshot eyes, and with the words she spoke, he became even more confused. This can't be right. Luo Ji's mother didn't seem to notice his reaction and continued speaking. Thinking of this, Luo Ji clenched his fists and told himself, I need to get to a place. With a higher level to train, I have to get stronger. After that, Luo Ji began to hunt and eliminate countless monsters. After an unknown amount of time, once Luo Ji had finished off a Red Devil elite mob, he opened his map to check. The elite monsters around Bronze Devil Town had all been wiped out by him. This way, Bronze Devil Town could be at peace for at least a while. During this time, he could finally leave with peace of mind. Luo Ji left a letter for Dorothy stating his decision to venture to Gemstone Fortress on an expedition. The battle with Therario had made him gone has been avenged. You are my only worry while I'm away, so you must take good care of yourself. You don't need to worry about me, just wait for my return. It's time for you to see me in a new light. And with that, Luo Ji departed. Not long after Dorothy came looking for him, she angrily crumpled the letter in her hand. That jerk, Luo Ji. He abandoned me again after saying so many pretty words. Of course I can take care of myself. But what about you? You can't even wash your clothes properly. You don't know how to cook. What will you do if your clothes tear? If you get injured, who will heal you? Do you have any idea how dangerous Gemstone Fortress is? You idiot, Luo Jai. After a moment, Dorothy wiped her tears, looked up at the sky through the window, and screamed, If you dare get yourself hurt, I will never forgive you. Please, be safe. I'll be waiting for you to return. Meanwhile, after leaving Bronze Devil Town, Luo Ji couldn't help but reflect. It feels like I've already lived in Bronze Devil Town for 10 years. This is the first time I've ever traveled this far. Without having to manage my daily life, Dorothy will surely have it much easier. If only I could meet such a wonderful girl in the real world, that would be incredible. Thinking this, Luo Ji let out a joyful laugh. He then cleared his throat, his expression turning serious as he told himself, Stop with these distracting thoughts. I need to focus on the journey ahead. Once you develop feelings in a game world, it's incredibly painful when it's time to leave, no matter how this game was programmed for me. I must always remember that in reality I don't belong here, and I absolutely cannot let a pretty girl's beauty distract me. Get out of the way! A loud shout rang out, cutting off Luo Jai's words. He only saw a panicked, pink-haired girl rushing toward him. Caught by surprise, he couldn't dodge in time, and the two collided, tumbling several times until Luo Ji's head hit a rock, bringing them to a stop. The girl was now lying on top of Luo Ji. He glared at her angrily and demanded, Who are you? The girl didn't answer and quickly covered his mouth. Shh, she whispered. Please, be quiet. I'm being pursued by cold dwarves. Those guys are extremely dangerous. If they find us, we're dead for sure, but I think I lost them. After a moment, confirming they weren't being followed, the pink-haired girl finally spoke up and apologized. My name is Rachel. Things were urgent just now, so please forgive me for being rude. Luo Jai smiled and replied, My name is Luo Ji. It's all right, anyone can run into trouble out on the road. Rachel smiled as well and asked, By the way, are you hurt? Luo Ji wagged a finger and replied, How could I be? A small collision like that isn't enough to injure me. Hearing that Rachel was relieved and said, That's good. Then she turned in a certain direction and called out loudly, Misa, you can come out now, it's safe. Immediately after, a colossal dragon came running over. She approached to comfort it. Good girl, you must have been so scared, right? We've shaken off the bad guys. Let's head back to the village immediately. Luo Jai, witnessing this from the side, was completely astonished. She's a beast tamer? This sight is way more stunning than in the game. After calming Misa down, Rachel turned to ask Luo Ji, Hey, Luojai, you look a bit lost. What brings you out here? Luojai smiled and replied, I'm an adventurer from the south and I'm preparing to go to Gemstone Fortress. So, you're going to Gemstone Fortress? Seeing that Rachel seemed to know the place, Luojai quickly asked, That's right. Is it still far from here? So, you're going to Gemstone Fortress. Seeing that Rachel seemed to know the place, Luojai quickly asked, That's right. Is it still far from here? Rachel rested her chin on her hand and pondered, If we were to walk, I'm afraid it's not just an issue of time and distance if Misa wasn't injured. It would only take 1 day for me to fly you across the wetlands. Lakiet exclaimed in shock. What a dragon flight. It takes a full day of flying, Rachel replied. The wetlands are not only vast but also crawling with rampaging monsters, so even flying over it is incredibly dangerous. Suddenly, Rachel remembered something. Oh, heavens, I can't talk any longer, I have to. Return to the Dragon Village to report the news. The Hamburghini and the Ash Dwarves have allied. The village is in extreme danger now. With that, Rachel turned to leave, but Lakiet hurriedly called out to her hesitantly, saying, Wait a minute, Rachel, can I go? With you, after Misa recovers, I'll. Rachel knew what Lakiet was going to say and immediately shot him down. No, you can't. We are at war with the Ash Dwarves and the situation is extremely perilous. You and I are strangers, I can't drag you into this, Lakiet said dismissively. Ash Dwarves. They sound like a piece of cake. Rachel frowned, replying with a hint of annoyance. Don't underestimate them. Before she could finish, Rachel shouted, It's caught up to us. Lakiet froze for 5 seconds, then suddenly he sensed danger from behind and immediately leaped to the side. Seeing the massive monster, Lakiet shouted at Rachel, Oh my God! You call that thing a dwarf? By this time, Rachel had already put some distance between them, not looking back as she ran, and explained that's what they were called before the Great Cataclysm. Afterward, the magical radiation mutated the dwarves into that form. Seeing Rachel run away, Lakiet desperately yelled, Hey, you're just leaving me here. You're a powerful warrior. Your skills must be legendary. Help me stall for a bit. I promise I'll repay you in the future, Rachel called back. Before disappearing from sight, Lakiet sighed and reluctantly drew his sword. I guess this will be my first real training session. After leaving the tutorial village, let's see what kind of power a monster that even dragons fear possesses. With that, Lakiet charged. Bliss forward. Saw toward the Ash Dwarf. The Ash Dwarf roared and lunged at Lakiet as well. It was a fierce exchange of blows for a while until the Ash Dwarf landed a punch that sent Lakiet flying back. Lakiet seriously assessed his opponent, a purely physical monster with skin as hard as stone. This is really a headache for anyone. Too bad for you that you ran into me. Lakiet smirked confidently and charged back in to battle the Ash Dwarf. After a long battle, Lakiet successfully defeated the monster, although his face was swollen and bruised from the Ash Dwarf's punches. He still turned around, striking a cool pose, and said, a piece of cake. The system also displayed a timely notification system alert. You have defeated an Ash Dwarf. Your fortitude stat has slightly increased. Lakiet was surprised to see this, a fortitude stat. This attribute is just as valuable as magic resistance. It's a very unique substat that can resist many debuffs, for example, pain from injuries, fainting, impaired movement, and various crowd control effects like knock, back, and pull. In short, this stat is definitely worth grinding for. Lakiet's eyes lit up and he immediately made a decision. That horde of Ash Dwarves over there, let's go have a little chat. By nightfall, Lakiet stood atop a mountain looking down at several caves in the valley below. This must be the Ash Dwarves' lair, he assessed using his aura sight. He observed that there were roughly 2,000 of them. Lakiet couldn't help but sweat. He didn't know whether to be excited or terrified. If he actually tried to fight them all, he feared he would be beaten to death. That's right, I should check my previous loot. Maybe there's an item in there that can help me deal with them. With that thought, Lakiet started rummaging through his useless magic pouch for a useless magic tool. Corpse King's rotten meat. What the hell is this? Lakiet used the system to check its information. System A, severely rotted piece of meat containing bacteria that causes extreme diarrhea. Looking at the item in his hand, Laquais immediately hatched a plan, a completely innocent smile spreading across his face. What a great item. If your hide is too tough, I'll just attack from the inside. I'll wait for you all to get a bad case of the runs, then I'll take you out one by one. Laquais immediately headed to a nearby lake. This small lake was the only source of drinking water in the area for the charcoal dwarves. Every day, they come to get drinking water and bring it back for their comrades. All I need to do is drop this rotten meat in here and stir it. Then I just have to wait for the perfect opportunity. 3 hours later, Laquais was hiding in a corner of the cave when he started hearing painful groans. The agonizing groans of the charcoal dwarves echoed out. Looks like it worked. Time to move out. Laquais covered his nose with a cloth and entered the cave. As he went inside, he complained, "It's so smoky in here I can't even open my eyes." Don't tell me these guys all dragged themselves back into the cave. These monsters are absolutely disgusting. As Laquais ventured deeper into the cave, he was met with the sight of a huge pile of once lively charcoal dwarves lying motionless, which made his eyes widen. Holy crap, they really got diarrhea until they passed out? The power of that. A corpse king's rotten meat, is this insane? No time to waste, I have to finish them off first. Laquais drew a dagger. He was just about to kill the incapacitated charcoal dwarves when he heard a noise from behind. He quickly turned around and saw, how can this be? I remember being blown into 1,000,000 pieces. There's no way I could have survived. Laquais slowly opened his eyes. Where am I? The underworld. Or did I go back to my original world? The strange scenery before him left him completely bewildered. Where on earth am I? System notification, you have eliminated 1,000 charcoal dwarves. Your fortitude stat has increased significantly. Hearing that, Laquais was jolted back to reality. The system is still active. I'm not dead. Could it be that my fortitude stat kept me in a near-death state? No, that's not right. Even if it could keep me in a near-death state, it would only last for a short time, a few seconds at most. Without timely treatment, I would have died for sure. He vaguely recalled the explosion cracking the ground open, forming a fissure. And he fell through it. Could it be that some mysterious figure down here saved my life? The game developers, sure. Read a lot of web novels, huh? That is correct. Abba assisted the guest in healing his wounds. Wait a second. A stout little robot appeared before Laquais holding a small needle. It leaned in its face, getting dangerously close to his crotch. Pervert Laquais instinctively punched Abba so hard its spare parts nearly flew off. It didn't retaliate, waiting for Laquais to calm down before explaining the situation. It was Apos who had saved him from death's door. 7 pieces and painstakingly reassembled him. It was an incredibly difficult task, of course. If not for Laquais' own fortitude stat keeping him alive, even Apos would have been powerless to help. After hearing the explanation, Laquais couldn't help but say, "You're too humble." He then checked his body all over. Sure enough, his body was perfectly intact. All of his physical functions had been restored to their optimal state. It looked like Apos really was his savior. It's just, this little guy looks so bizarre. Who are you, anyway? Apos hurriedly spoke up. How rude of me, I completely forgot to introduce myself. Apos hasn't seen a living being in such a long time that I've forgotten proper etiquette. I hope the honored guest can find it in his heart to forgive me. My name is Pas. I am an elder of the Martial Pinnacle Temple. Laquais curiously looked around, taking in the sights. An underground palace. This is truly something special. It looks like this place has been abandoned for a very long time. Plus, you said you haven't seen a living person in ages, so don't tell me you're the only one here. There used to be many people here, but one day the King of Tarot sent a messenger with an urgent message for the Grand Master. The Master left in a hurry. By the way, these are memory crystals. They hold a boss's most precious memories. From when I used to peek, feel free to watch. Laquais quickly waved his hand in refusal. You're far too hospitable. They were buried in the dust of history long ago. Even I can't remember their voices or smiles. Although peeking at others while they bathe is extremely rude. But it's better than letting them be completely forgotten. It's better to remember them. Wouldn't you agree? Laquais was truly. Having his worldview expanded, he couldn't help but cough a few times. What kind of twisted logic is that? He held the crystal. in his hand and said with some regret, "But I'm not the creator of this crystal structure, so I can't read. These memories, I can't see the world of their past lives. What a shame." A system notification chimed. "A perfect memory crystal has been detected. Do you wish to read the memory?" Wait. I was just kidding. I would never dare to offend the seniors. The system paid him no mind and continued its action. Memory crystal read successfully. Immediately a mist appeared, accompanied by an intoxicating aroma that piqued Lakiet's interest. Now, this is a true full-dive experience. It's so much more realistic than any VR game. He began to justify his actions. Before the Great Calamity, there existed a high civilization far surpassing the present day. My purpose in watching is to learn their advanced skills. Interacting with the senior sisters is just a way to learn how to enjoy myself. An excited Lakiet charged deep into the mist. However, that silhouette. It seems a bit brawny, doesn't it? Lakiet moved closer. And holy cow, there were no sisters to be found, only a supersized gigantic charcoal dwarf. The moment it saw Lakiet, it gifted him a friendly slap that nearly knocked his front teeth out. Lakiet clutched his swollen, bewildered face, staring at the charcoal dwarf. Why is this thing in the senior sister's bathroom? Besides, before the Great Calamity, wasn't it supposed to be very small? My deepest apologies. Allowing a guest to view a damaged memory crystal is truly a discourtesy. Hearing the attendant speak, Lakiet fell into a panic. Damaged. Then what about those charcoal dwarves? The guest means those big guys. They also came from the entrance, up above. Oh dear, I forgot to serve tea to our guest. How rude of me, a bat replied shyly. You idiot. You don't look anything like a guest, Lakiet yelled angrily. After calming down, he drew his weapon. Never mind. You hide behind me. You must be one of the stragglers from before. I needed a little warm-up to restore my functions anyway. Honored guest behind me. Please have a seat over here while I prepare some tea. Why are you still inviting him? I told you he's a bad guy, Lakiet glared angrily at a bat, only to receive an unexpected surprise. Behind a bat was an entire legion of charcoal dwarves. The system's voice rang out. You have encountered the charcoal dwarf king. 1,000 charcoal dwarves. Lakiet was stunned. It looks like this life is a total write-off. The charcoal dwarves began to flex their power, then furiously charged at Lakiet. Lakiet grabbed a bat and ran for his life. Honored guest, please put a bat down. A bat truly cannot leave. What the heck is wrong with you? If we don't go, are you just going to wait to be beaten to death? A bat said. Even if I must sacrifice my life, I have to complete my mission. Lakiet put a bat down, wishing he could knock some sense into him. Enough already, you blockhead. If it weren't for saving you, I wouldn't have gotten beaten this badly. Abbott, you still have a mission. This is more important than life itself. If I die, the nation forms a semicircle. Lakiet followed his lead, forming the other half of the circle when their hands touched. A strange phenomenon immediately appeared. Seeing this, Abbott was overjoyed. That's right, this is the feeling. It's been so long since I felt such an abundant aura, a power of light hidden within your body. Please respond to my call. Break through the gate. Release your domain, and fuse with me. Just as Abbott finished speaking, a giant warrior appeared. Lakiet stared in amazement. Is this an apostle of light or a champion of justice? This game is getting more and more unconventional. The giant warrior gathered its energy, then let out a roar. Shenkai descends. This roar immediately attracted the attention of the horde of charcoal dwarves. Before Lakiet could even understand what was happening, he was thrown into a space as black as ink. Then he heard Abbott's voice explaining, "This is the heart of Kai. It needs you to pilot him." Shenkai was summoned by the aura of you, so naturally it must be controlled by you. It's very simple. Shenkai will mimic the movements of its aura host. No complex controls are needed. You move and it moves. Oh, I know this. It's like those mechs that run on light energy. I've seen it countless times. He nodded in satisfaction. All right, Abbott. No more introductions needed. The enemy is right in front of us. Let's cooperate to wipe them out. All right, since this is the setup then, Let's fight to the bitter end, Lockieate. Got into a combat stance, looked at the enemy and yelled, "You lowly charcoal dwarves, prepare to taste my incredible fists." As he finished speaking, Lockieate unleashed 7,749 martial arts techniques he knew, like the 100 rending fists of the North Star, and the elephant piston punch, and the 100 dragon. Overlord strike. The horde of charcoal trolls was pummeled into paste. Then he approached the charcoal troll king, sizing him up. "Dwarf king, if you're a king, you deserve to be finished off with an ultimate skill. You want to use a finisher?" Abbott asked. Lockieate replied innocently, "I was just kidding. It's too late. Skill successfully loaded. Oh, I forgot to mention. Guest Shensai's skills are voice-activated. My apologies, this is terribly impolite of me. So what now? Cover your ears." Boom. Immediately afterward, an earth-shattering explosion erupted. A series of system notifications chimed in. "You have slain 4,637 charcoal dwarves. Total kills now stand at 7,254 foes. Your strength stat has increased significantly. Milestone achievement. Unlocked Race Slayer. The sheer destruction in darkness for millennia to be bathed in the light of dawn." Lockieate gazed into the distance. What kind of power is this? It's incredible, truly worthy of a high-level civilization. It's such a pity it was destroyed. However, piloting Shenkai is just too draining on my stamina. If I kept this up for another 2 minutes, I'm afraid I would have died from exhaustion. Fortunately, all the enemies have been eliminated otherwise. I might not have lived to see tomorrow. The happiest one of all was surely Abbott. He gazed up at the sky, his voice filled with unconcealable joy. The sky, it's so beautiful. Abbott hadn't known how long it had been since he last saw the sky. It was truly unbelievable that the Martial Apex Temple would see the light of day again. "Thank you, guest. You are the one who helped me complete my quest. So your quest was to let this temple see the light of day." "No, that was just one of my quests," Lockieate laughed. "How can you possibly have so many quests?" Before Abbott could finish speaking, he suddenly collapsed. Luo Jie knelt and hurriedly caught Abbas. Trying to ask what was wrong with him, Abbas's energy was nearly depleted. How rude of me. To meet a guest, Abbas feels incredibly fortunate. "Is energy the same as ki? I can give you some." Abbas shook his head no. "Guest, could you please help Abbas one more time? Tilt your head over here." Luoji immediately complied. Instantly, a wave of energy transferred into Luoji's head. "As an elder, my final mission is to prevent the martial arts of Great Master Ku Fong from being lost to time." "Oh no, I still don't know the guest's name. This is an immense discourtesy." Abbas started to show signs of short-circuiting. After finishing the word courtesy, its body stopped functioning. The system prompted, "You have acquired a new skill. Falling Star. Flame, an ultimate art of the Extreme Martial Temple. Creator Ku Fong. Characteristic uses ki-infused palm strikes to directly attack the enemy's internal organs and bones of the enemy. You have acquired a new skill, Jin Gang Shatter, an ultimate art of the Extreme Martial Temple. Creator Ku Fong. Characteristic, a powerful and decisive fist technique with immense offensive power." Luo Ji was in no mood to listen to the system notifications. He kept shaking the motionless Abbas. "Abbas, my name is Luo Ji, can you hear me? I'm the one who was rude. I was always on guard, so I didn't tell you my name. Don't sleep anymore. Tell me what kind of energy you need. What should I do to help you?" In the end, Luo Ji still couldn't repair Abbas. He could only give him a simple burial. Fortunately, within Abbas's remaining memory crystal, he found some information. The headquarters of the Extreme Martial Temple is located in Jewel City. There is also a robot there named A7. If she also survived the cataclysm, perhaps she would know a way to save Abbas. Therefore, no matter what, Luoji was determined to get to Jewel City as fast as possible. So he immediately went to find Rachel for help. After hearing Luoji recount the entire story, Rachel was utterly astonished. "You're saying the 2 explosions inside the greedy dwarves' lair were your doing. It's a long and complicated story. In short, the greedy dwarves will no longer come to bother everyone. By the way, how are Misa's injuries? Her wounds are more severe than we anticipated. I'm afraid we'll have to wait 2 to 3 days before she can fly across the swamp region. Luojai couldn't hide his disappointment. Don't worry, Luojai. I won't go back on my promise to take you to Jewel City. Break my promise, Rachel affirmed. Okay, Luoji replied. That's fine too. It's the perfect time for him to practice the skill sets that Abbas had passed on to him. Suddenly, Rachel thought of something, grabbed his hand, and pulled him along. That's right, come with me. I'm taking you to meet Lady Muth. The dragon tribe is able to live peacefully in this land entirely because of her. I hope you can keep our secret. I will, Luoji replied. On the way, Rachel told him the story of this land. It was originally a barren wasteland corrupted by demonic energy. We had to rely completely on the emerald power of Lady Muth to nurture the land. The dragon's immense power keeps the surrounding monsters from daring to approach. Before long, Rachel stopped walking. Before Luoji's eyes was a magnificent emerald dragon. After Rachel whispered something to Muth, the dragon turned its gaze toward Luoji and spoke slowly. Thank you, young man. Just now, Rachel told me everything. To show my gratitude, I have decided to bestow upon you the blessing of the Emerald Dragon. However, I have one condition. Help me eliminate Hambry in the Rapunzel Grand Chasm. The blessing of the Emerald Dragon only. It can be used only once in a lifetime. The recipient of this blessing will randomly receive a +1 bonus to 3 of their stats. 6 stats. It's a very tempting offer, but I'll have to raise the price a bit. What Luojai's words made Musk furious, who let him have it with a barrage of curses. You bottomlessly greedy humans! How dare you underestimate the Dragon Clan? Rachel quickly pulled Luojai away and started to bring him up to speed. Micha was once home to a very ancient kingdom called Taro, and there was another prehistoric civilization known as the Ether Scholarly Society. You mean the curse of destruction has happened more than once? Luoji asked with a grim expression. Could there have even been? A third time, Rachel confirmed, if that's true, then Micha's situation is 10,000 times worse than Luoji ever imagined he had. Wasted so much time, a full 10 years. The Ether Scholarly Society once conducted extensive research on the curse of destruction and recorded their findings in the history books. This is the most valuable intel you can get, so how about it? Are you ready to go exterminate the Humburgers in exchange? Rachel began to entice Luoji. He now realized how foolish he'd been in his past life for not paying attention to the game's lore. Now he had to grind like a low-level player just to obtain this information. He remembered himself sitting at his computer desk, endlessly mashing the skip button on every single cutscene just to jump into the action faster. Who has time to read the lore? Anyway, the folly of youth, I'd probably just mash the skip button all over again. With no other choice, Luoji ultimately had to agree to Rachel's proposal. After all, he was stuck here for a while. Anyway, he could just treat this as an opportunity to grind some experience points. Rachel immediately beamed with joy. That's wonderful. Thank you, Luojai. Now, I will give you all the intel Musk's mother once visited the Ether Scholarly Society according to her mother's memories. The manuscript was stored in a floating laboratory. The place is heavily guarded and has a very complex layout. Unfortunately, the second curse struck so suddenly that the manuscript was lost to the sands of time. The ruins of the Ether Scholarly Society are now known as the Gemstone Fortress. Luoji fell into deep thought. The headquarters of the Extreme Martial Temple and the Ether Scholarly Society. All the clues were pointing to the Gemstone Fortress. Rachel sat to one side watching Luojai intently while thinking to herself. She couldn't stop sizing him up. This guy was so strange. At first, she thought he was just another greedy adventurer, but it turned out he only wanted some information. Information about the apocalypse. But what intrigued her the most was when he demanded to raise the price, making Lord Musk furious. Even as Lord Musk unleashed his draconic aura, Luojai's expression didn't falter in the slightest. After Luoji had left, Lord Musk had said there seems to be a powerful seal within that man's body. Once that seal is broken, the power unleashed will be immense. In short, we should do our best to accommodate his requests. Recalling this, Rachel couldn't help but break into a cold sweat. This guy. Isn't some kind of ticking time bomb? Is he? Well, if that's the case, we should get going soon. As she was lost in thought, Luo Jia suddenly shouted. It startled Rachel so much that she reflexively yelled, "No, I don't want to." Luo Ji gave her a puzzled look. "What, you don't want me to go on the quest anymore?" Realizing her slip of the tongue, Rachel quickly tried to explain, "No, that's not what I meant. I just haven't told you the precise location yet. Of the hamburgers and some other key intelligence, it's always better to be prepared first." "That's fine," Luo Ji replied.
Head north. Or Rapunzel.
Until you see a cluster of earth-yellow buildings, that's the hamburger's lair. Luo Jie followed Rachel's directions. Before long, he arrived at a location that matched her description perfectly. But the area was completely desolate. There wasn't a single speck of green in sight. Could this be the real reason why Hambagri and the charcoal dwarves allied to attack Dangrong Lake Village? The situation is dire. Despite the barren land, the population here is significant. What do they eat? Do they survive solely by raiding? But looking at the miserable state of these people, they look more like victims of a raid themselves, covered in pustules and completely listless. Furthermore, regardless of whether they are male or female, they all wear skirts, which is incredibly suspicious. Lakis clicked his tongue, deciding to ignore it. Even if he defeated them, it's not like they would drop any good attributes. He then noticed that the veins of blood energy were most concentrated at the central citadel. Perhaps he's inside. Lakis pulled out a hooded cloak for disguise. His plan was to infiltrate the central area. He would find Hambagri and then assassinate him directly. Lakis advanced unimpeded, making a beeline for the central citadel. "All right, this is the place. The main gate is wide open and I don't sense any danger at all. In that case, I won't be polite. About taking your head." With that thought, Lakis swiftly moved inside only to bump into an incredibly large and colossal woman. "Please excuse me," the woman said with a haggard expression. Lakis, flustered, quickly apologized. Then he stepped aside to observe the man how bizarre his limbs were scrawny, yet he had such a large stomach. Suddenly, the woman's belly expanded even more. She let out a horrifying scream, and then from her stomach 3 babies burst out. Lakis was stunned, frozen for a full 5 seconds, but the bizarre spectacle didn't end there. The 3 children, who at first were just newborn infants, transformed in an instant into giants with grotesque faces. They then approached the woman, calling out "Mama." Lakis watched his jaw agape in utter shock. What in the world is going on? After giving birth, the woman reverted to her normal appearance. Just then, a mysterious figure appeared carrying 2 baskets of fruit. He placed them before her. "This is your payment for birthing 3 children." The woman expressed regret, "Only 3. I wish I could have birthed more for the great Lord Hambagri. Then I could have received more fire crescents." Fire crescents. This was the first time Lakis had ever heard of such a fruit. At that moment, the system activated. Tainted fire crescent. Abundant mana level 13. A hallucinogenic plant with a high mutation rate, highly addictive. Use with caution. Contains demonic energy. And is highly addictive. This is even more terrifying than the narcotics from my past life. The villagers here must all be controlled by this type of crescent. No wonder they all have that appearance. If Dangrong Village falls, the consequences will be catastrophic. And the villagers here all wear skirts likely to facilitate childbirth. This whole system is truly horrifying. Lakis was lost in his thoughts, and didn't notice that the mysterious man had spotted him. He approached and tapped Lakis on the shoulder. "You here to get a fire crescent too?" Lakis was so startled he was tongue-tied, hastily clarifying, "No, I'm just passing through. Besides, I'm a man. What's that got to do with it? Stop your pointless chatter and get inside." With that, the man hurled Lakis inside. The system prompted, "You have perceived the ritual of the blood god." Hearing the system notification, Lakis instantly understood everything. So that's why the newborn infants could grow at such an incredible rate. It was all due to dark magic. How detestable. The whole reason for attacking Dangrong Village must be to produce more offspring for him. To see women as mere breeding tools, for the sake of his own ambition, is unforgivable. Unexpectedly, his every word was overheard by the vile Hambagri himself. He shot back, "You're very clever, but you're only half right. The plan to attack the sprawling village isn't just about expanding our territory. Everything I do is for the blood god because only a child bred from a sacrificial offering and an emerald dragon can awaken the seal within the blood god. What you want to do it with? Lakiet. Just the thought of it sends shivers down my spine. Don't be so shocked. First, I'll let you experience the pleasure of breeding with a god. Come on, let's have some fun and make a baby. Herobrine spread his arms wide, intending to embrace Lakiet. See ya. This old master is out of here. This quest is getting way too twisted. With that, Lakiet hitched up his pants and bolted, but unexpectedly that Herobrine creep was faster. He was one step ahead, using a binding skill that coiled around Lakiet like a snake, rendering him immobile. Let me go, you damn pervert! Herobrine smirked with delight, then pulled Lakiet closer and began to inspect him. The texture isn't bad at all. Your skin is so soft. Making a baby with you will surely be a delicious experience. After a moment of psychological trauma, Lakiet's shock, I've been grinding for 10 years straight. I've avoided all female characters this whole time because I didn't want to form deep bonds with NPCs. That way I could log off easily when the quest was over, and now you suddenly want to take my V-card and force me to have your kid. You're taking things too far. I refuse to get bent like this. Lakiet activated his ultimate release skill to self-destruct. The magic ring successfully freed him from Herobrine. Good thing I brought this magic ring, or else... But the ring's power still isn't enough to destroy him. Just then, Lakiet heard Herobrine's vile laughter, and his muscular figure materialized right in front of him. So this is where you were, without clothes, getting in the way. Our souls and bodies can collide more intensely. Now we can easily satisfy our bloodthirsty desires. It was then Lakiet noticed that due to the force of the explosion, his clothes were scorched and his attractive backside was completely exposed. You old pervert, cut the crap. Nonsense. Watch me sever your tongue. Crimson Moon. Just then, Lakiet frantically realized that his weapon had vanished into thin air. Hamburghini saw this and let out a huge laugh. I forgot to tell you, inside this city, I've established a magnetic field that nullifies all weapons. No one can use a weapon here. This is also why I don't need any guards. To defeat me, you can only rely on your bare fists. With that said, Humbri suddenly launched an attack on Lakiet, causing him to be caught completely off guard. He collapsed to his knees in pain. With that naive body and mind of yours, you'll never be able to defeat me. Now be a good boy and use the cooking oil. Damn it, I won't let you lay a single finger on me. Lakiet gritted his teeth as he retorted while his mind raced to find a way to defeat him. Suddenly, he remembered that Apart had passed down his martial arts to him. He recalled Apart's dying words. Sense the ki, then you can use my techniques. The ultimate martial art uses the heart to feel the ki that is everywhere, Lakiet mumbled. Then he concentrated with all his might, and sure enough he could feel a surge of energy swelling within his body. Thinking Lakiet was just bluffing, Humbri said mockingly, "Stop trying to resist. The battle between you and that greedy dwarf proved to me long ago that you can't take a single hit without your weapon. Isn't that right? In that case, I'll show you what a light-speed punch truly is." Lakiet clenched his fist and charged towards Humbri. He didn't even bother to dodge and continued his tirade, but he never expected that, before he could finish his sentence, Lakiet's golden light, Shatter Fist, would send him flying. Larkin saw this and rejoiced. How impressive. As expected of ancient martial arts, it compensates for my lack of physical stats. It's just that my body isn't conditioned, so unleashing a move like that so suddenly is a bit much. My hand is already bleeding. Humphrey rose from his rubble, speaking in a sinister tone. Quite interesting. I truly underestimated you. To suddenly use ancient martial arts? No wonder I couldn't sense your power level. What a coincidence, the blood god also hails from the ancient era. It's perfect timing to use your blood as a sacrifice to the blood god. Larkin looked at his bleeding hand, and sure enough, his blood was being siphoned into a statue. The guardian of the demon idol seemed quite pleased, saying, "For it to actively drink blood like this is a first. I've had a change of heart. I no longer want you to sire children. I want every last drop of blood in your body. Therefore, I will use my full power to show you the true strength of your superior." With his fists a blur, Humphrey roared confidently, "Don't get cocky. So what if you go all out?" Vajra, shatter. Larkin also shouted, launching his own attack. The two fighters landed a blow on each other at the same time. Both were pushed back. Larkin internally assessed the situation. He's tough to deal with. Thankfully, my high fortitude stat and pain resistance attribute helped me take that. Otherwise, that single blow would have been disastrous. Across from him, Humphrey also frowned, thinking, this guy is nothing like the intel said. He's far stronger than predicted. After that, the two men regained their senses and continued their assault on the other, with martial arts and trash talk. You're still no match for me. You're the one who should stop bluffing. After fighting for a long while, Larkin began to run out of steam. He started to worry. Damn, does this guy's stamina have no limit? My own aura is severely depleted. I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. Humphrey noticed that Larkin's attacks had weakened. He said smugly, "What's the matter, tired already? You really can't hold out much longer, but I've only used half of my power." He then began to ramp up his attacks, threatening Larkin, "Give up. You are no match for me. Offer your blood willingly. And I might remember your contribution. Otherwise, I will enslave your village and slaughter your relatives, your friends, and even your distant kin. Anyone with the slightest connection to you, I will not spare. Your parents and your siblings will become slaves to breed for the blood god." Every dragon has a reverse scale, and to touch it is death. Since he was transmigrated, it had been a very long time since Larkin had been able to see his family. Humphrey's words had struck that very nerve, causing Larkin's fury to erupt to its absolute peak. "You damn bastard, shut your mouth!" Larkin roared. An immense power burst forth from his body, stunning Humphrey. How is this possible? The bizarre aura within his body suddenly surged. Larkin clenched his fist, feeling the overflowing power within his body. He spoke with rage. "You can insult me, but you are not allowed to insult my family. Let me teach you how to speak." A stream of power transferred from Humphrey's hands to the demon idol. At the same time, he shouted, "Supreme Blood God, please hear my call. Your devout follower is facing a powerful enemy. Please grant me your power, awaken messenger of the demon idol." Following his call, the demonic statue began to tremble. The stone layer covering it started to crack and fall away. Humphrey leaped to his feet, exclaiming with glee, "You're dead for sure now, kid." Larkin turned in horror to look at the demon idol, only to see that beneath the layer of stone and rubble was a creature with the body of a small child. With blue skin, red eyes, a pair of wings sprouting from its back, and a pair of long horns on its head, it was so cute that Lakia couldn't help himself. He blurted out a comment. Hearing this, Hambry became enraged, shouting, "How audacious! How dare you speak so disrespectfully because the ancient demon is still in its juvenile stage, but even so, it is an existence that makes people tremble with fear." Then Hambry pointed his finger towards Lakia and shouted, "Envoy of the blood god. Slay the one who obstructs the arrival of the blood god." At that moment, the ancient demon let out a soft roar and charged towards Lakia. Seeing this, Hambry excitedly said, "The ancient demon possesses the supernatural funeral rite skill which makes people tremble in fear just hearing its name. With its help, the resurrection of the blood god is not far off." However, the next scene left Hambry completely frozen. Lakia was squatting down, scratching the ancient demon's chin with a bright smile, saying, "You really are adorable." The ancient demon, for its part, was enjoying it immensely, baring its teeth in a grin. Hambry couldn't believe this harsh reality and screamed, "How is this possible?" annoyed by the interruption. Lakia gritted his teeth, glared at him, and questioned. "It drank my blood, so of course it has to obey. Me, do you have a problem with that?" Hambry hastily knelt down, stammering. Subserviently, No, that reason is perfectly sufficient. If that's the case, then we're all one big family now. Please allow me to call you Big Brother." Lakia walked over and slung an arm around Hambry's shoulder. He smiled sinisterly and asked, Then this Big Brother is very curious about the ancient demon's funeral rite skill. Little brother, would you like to experience it firsthand? If a family member's request is denied, then you're not worthy of being my little brother. And you'll remain an enemy as before." Hambry stammered awkwardly, about that." Lakia, no longer interested in playing around, gave an order. "Ancient demon master of the funeral rite skill." The ancient demon roared excitedly, raising its hand with 5 sharp claws and slowly walking towards Hambry. A few seconds later, Lakia received a system notification, "You have eliminated Hambry. You have acquired the Corpse Eater specialty." Corpse Eater Specialty Level 2. Heal wounds by consuming animal carcasses. After defeating Hambri Lakia immediately. Return to Dangrong village, causing the Emerald Dragon to change its attitude and enthusiastically bestow a blessing upon him. The dragon tribe truly lives up to its reputation as an intelligent species. The effect of the blessing was fantastic. Lakia could clearly feel the increase in power from his boosted base stats. Misa's wounds had also healed. Roicho kept her promise and decided to personally escort Lakia. She prepared dried rations for the two of them and a dragon, even trading her old shawl for Lakia's and kindly mending his torn clothes. Lakia had a look of pure enjoyment. He muttered, "If I could have a little wife like this in my life, what more could I ask for?" Suddenly, Lakia was startled, slapped his own face, and said, "Ahem, I'm starting to have wild thoughts again. I must always remember that I don't belong here." After everything was settled, the journey to Gemstone Castle began. Standing on the dragon's back, Lakia looked towards their destination and smiled. A one-day journey isn't long, but it isn't short either. During his idle time, Lakia began to take inventory of the battle. Loot from Hambri 3 gold plates found in the bedroom, 135 silver horns, and many cold copper coins. It must be said that making money from trafficking illicit substances is really fast. With my current assets, I could be considered part of a well-off family, but what excited Lakia the most was finding 2 rings and a belt in the secret chamber. The Asgard Ring Medium Grade. Stat Willpower +1. Special effect reduces all damage you take by 4%. Collect 6 Asgard pieces to reduce all-around damage by 40%. This is absolutely amazing. Another medium-grade ring with the stat Intellect +1 and a Charm Summon, or Venomous Snakes. A level 2 spell you can summon a large number of venomous snakes in a designated area to attack your enemies. The species and quality of the summoned snakes depend on your stats. Lakiet pondered for a moment. This seems pretty average. I haven't thought of a use for it yet. Then Lakiet couldn't help but get excited as he thought about the Macho Man's belt. This was his favorite item of all. Rank S+ mid-grade. Stats of Strength +1. Your stamina and energy recovery speed are increased by 10%. Special effect, your core muscles in the waist and abdomen are significantly enhanced. Quality is for fixed weapons or props after putting on the belt. Lakiet's abs and V-line became clearly defined. This made him laugh out loud with joy. If I could bring all this stuff into the real world, that would be insane. Behind him, Vichoi saw Lakiet laughing like a maniac, and thought to herself, it seems Lakiet is really desperate to get to Jewel City. This is the Vecho called out to Lakiet, "By the way, Lakiet, we've been flying for 5 hours now. Do you want to get something to eat?" Lakiet smiled and shook his head. "I don't feel hungry at all when I'm in a good mood. You go ahead and eat." Vecho began to remind him. "Actually, it's time for Misa to eat." Lakiet replied, "Oh, just feed her. Then you don't need to ask me." Vecho spoke again. "What I meant to say was, could you pass me the food pouch?" Lakiet frowned. "I don't have it." Vecho was startled and shot to her feet. "I don't have it either." She frantically looked around when she saw the imp sitting there gnawing on their food. She screamed, "There's a monster stealing our rations." Lakiet whipped his head around and also yelled angrily, "Hey, imp, what do you think you're doing? Stop that right now." Vichoi suspiciously opened her mouth and asked an imp. Lakiet slapped his forehead and then explained, "Oh, right, I forgot to tell you he's my new subordinate that I just recruited. Being able to defeat Humbri so easily was all thanks to him." Hearing this, Vecho urged him, "Well, then you won't eat it again if Misa doesn't eat on time?" Before he could finish, Vecho screamed, "We're done for. It's over. It's even raining." Lakiet, confused, asked, "What's wrong?" Vecho, with a trembling hand, pointed ahead. "Look over there. That's the signature monster of this swamp, the swamp dragon. Once it locks onto its prey, it will hunt it relentlessly. It's an incredibly difficult boss monster to deal with. What do we do now? If Misa were in top condition, we could speed up and escape, but Misa is starving right now." Lakiet was by her side. He spoke up asking, "How do these swamp dragons compare to the Hambri?" Vecho thought for a moment before replying, "Just one. Adult swamp dragon is barely comparable to 2. Hambri Lakiet was shocked. exclaiming, "These swamp dragons are that strong." At the moment, there are only a few young swamp dragons, but their combat power isn't much different from a Hambry hearing this Lakiat. Breathed a sigh of relief. He confidently said, "You mean these young dragons are on the same level as a Hambry? In that case, there's no need to worry. You can rest easy. Just leave the rest of this quest to me." "What?" Veicho exclaimed in surprise. But then, she remembered something and immediately cheered up. "That's right. Lakiat is the one who soloed the Hambry. What's more, even Lord Mutt is afraid of him." Lakiat, unaware of what Veicho was thinking, turned towards the swamp dragons and taunted, "Come and get it, you." Swamp dragons? The evil dragon, Royal, watched from the side, secretly getting hyped. What a powerful aura. Finally, I get to see his true power. But Lakiat's next action made Veicho's jaw drop. He simply grabbed the gargoyle statue and threw it towards the pack of swamp dragons, shouting, "Gargoyle! Attack! It's all your fault. We're in this mess. If you can't kill those swamp dragons, don't even think about coming back. Go back to being just a statue." The gargoyle, hearing it, might have to go back to being a statue, broke out in a cold sweat. It unleashed 200% of its power and charged fiercely at the swamp dragon pack not long after the group of Lakiat found a place to rest and started grilling the swamp dragon meat. Lakiat took a bite and his face lit up. "This is delicious. The swamp dragon meat is way tastier than I imagined," Veicho agreed, adding, "What's even more surprising is how the little demon suddenly became so powerful. It took down the pack of swamp dragons in just 2 or 3 moves. It's just that its methods were a bit, can you really use claws like that? Recalling how the gargoyle specialized in using its claws to attack the swamp dragon's soft spots." Lakiat laughed awkwardly and said, "Regardless of the skill, whether it's a high-level or a low-level one, as long as it can defeat the enemy, it's a good skill." Veicho had to concede. "Well, that's true. It's good we can just grill it directly, saving us the trouble of gutting it, but..." The little demon doesn't seem very happy. After the battle, it's just been over there, sulking, and I don't know why Lakiat looked at the gargoyle helplessly thinking, "This little demon is so temperamental." Then Lakiat took a skewer of grilled swamp dragon meat, walked over to the gargoyle, and asked with a smile, "It's crispy on the outside and super, super delicious. Wanna try a bite?" "Huh." The gargoyle didn't even look at Lakiat. Lakiat continued to coax it. "Come on, just one bite." The great gargoyle doesn't care. Lakiat had no choice but to admit he was wrong. All right, it was my fault. I'm sorry for not telling you beforehand that it was Misa's food, and I shouldn't have made you fight alone. I'm sorry for getting you hurt, no matter what." Lakiat said. The gargoyle remained angry. He started muttering to himself, "What did I ultimately do to offend you? Wait, I shouldn't have told you to go back to being a statue." When the gargoyle heard that, it finally reacted. It turned to look at Lakiat and shrieked. Lakiat had a sudden realization. What? So it was all because of that one sentence. He immediately promised, "Little imp, I'm sorry, I take back what I said. As long as I'm here, you will never return to that dark stone statue again." Late that night, Lakis suggested, "After that big meal, I'm getting sleepy. How about we take a nap for a bit before we head out?" Rachel thought for a moment and nodded. "All right." And so the two of them lay down to rest right where they were. After a long while, Rachel took Lakis's hand and asked, "Lakis, are you asleep yet?" Lakis hesitated and replied, Not yet." Suddenly, Rachel flipped over and pinned Lakis down, making him ask suspiciously, "Huh? Rachel, what are you doing?" Rachel smiled, her eyes filled with deep affection, and spoke, "This is the perfect time. I have something I want to tell you, Lakis. You know, the first time I saw you, I already liked you." Lakis's face turned beet red. He stammered, "Really? I never would have thought—" Rachel cut him off. "If that's the case, then let's deepen our bond before we part ways." After that, all that could be heard was a series of flustered words from Lakis. "Wait a minute. Rachel, that tickles, ha 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 ha. Don't do that. Stop it. You can't touch there." Suddenly, everything became blurry. Lakis blinked his eyes open. It wasn't the beautiful, heart-stirring Rachel. It was just the gargoyle hovering around Lakis, sometimes licking his leg, sometimes nibbling his hand. Only then did he realize the previous scene was just a dream. Angrily, Lakis kicked the gargoyle away, causing it to sulk in a corner, feeling wronged. Lakis stood up and looked around but couldn't see Rachel or Misa anywhere. Next to him was only a sphere. It was another recording sphere. The ladies here seem to enjoy leaving without saying goodbye, huh? Let's see what she said. Lakis picked up the recording sphere. When he activated it, a sarcastic voice echoed, "By the time 130 years pass, I'll be long gone from this place." The recording sphere. The scene shifts to Ivy sitting beside Lark, who is sleeping like the dead. "Goodbye, Lark. It was truly a pleasure to get to know you. Although I don't know why you risked it all to come to Gemstone Fortress, I believe you have a heart of justice. I wish you success." With that, Ivy leaned down and kissed Lark on the cheek. Seeing this, Lark's eyes shot wide open. He stared intently at that image, then burst into a delighted laugh. The demon statue nearby looked at him with disdain. Suddenly, Lark violently threw the statue to the ground, shattering it into pieces. "Oh no, this is definitely another setup from the game. I'm an emotionless machine," he shouted while running down the mountain. Let's go on the way." He made some quick calculations. The Sarah River Bridge is truly a troublesome issue. First, I'll head to town to scout the path and see if it's possible to take the path through the Lord's domain and gather some useful intel. Soon after, Lark arrived at the town of Dawn. Based on past experience, every new place brings new opportunities. Dawntown might grant me a new skill. I've been getting impatient lately. Help Lark watched as a man shouted while running in his direction. He thought happily to himself, a side quest just like that. I love how fast these pop up. Before the man could even say a word, Lark asked, "You're being hunted by a monster, aren't you?" The man instinctively nodded. "Yes." As Lark cut him off again, asking, "If I help you defeat that monster, you'll surely reward me with a hefty sum, right?" The man nodded again, admitting that was a given. "But don't worry, leave it to me," Lark interrupted, once more silencing the man. Just then, the monster finally caught up. Lark started sizing it up with an analytical eye. Turns out it was a turtle. "This monster is clearly a low-level mob. Come, offer up your life," Lark shouted, drawing his sword and lunging to strike the monster's back. But because the turtle shell was incredibly hard, Lark's sword immediately snapped in two, leaving him wide-eyed in shock. The man finally opened his mouth to explain. "I was just about to tell you the Zoni Turtle's absolute defense skill can block an attack from a level 3 powerhouse." Not listening to the rest of what the man had to say, Lark interrupted, "That was just a careless mistake. If its defense stat is that high, then its speed must be low." As he said this, Lark charged in to attack again. But, unexpectedly, the Zoni Turtle's speed was nothing to scoff at, and it continuously attacked, making Lark scream in agony without end. The man couldn't stand to watch and continued his explanation. "It also possesses an attack power that's incredibly fast and precise. That's why I said it's a tough mob to deal with," Lark asked while desperately fleeing. "So does it have any weak points?" The man sighed and thought to himself, this guy must be a total noob. After being chased for a while, Lark finally snapped. "You stinking turtle, don't push me too far," Lark roared, then unleashed his burning meteor skill with a single palm strike that instantly killed the Zoni Turtle. He walked over to the monster's corpse, boasting triumphantly, "This is a palm style that channels ki to directly attack an opponent's internal organs and bones. No matter how high your defense stat is, you can't resist the overwhelming power of ki that can pierce through anything." Seeing this, the man's eyes lit up, praising Lark for being so powerful. Then he ran over to the Zoni Turtle's body to confirm it was really dead. Lark spoke proudly. It was nothing. The man approached Lark, reached into his tunic and said, "Young man, you've done this old man a huge favor. Seeing as you and I share a bond of fate, I have something for you." Lark's eyes gleamed with anticipation as he secretly wondered, "Let's see what kind of rare item he's going to give me. At this pace, clearing this game isn't far off." Just then, he saw a man pull a stack of papers from his coat and say, "I have a land deed here that I'm willing to sell to you at a low price." Lakis stared at him blankly and asked, "What sell you're selling it?" The man asked back suspiciously, "What else would I be doing goodbye then?" Lakis decisively turned to leave. The man hurriedly called after him, "Hey, take a look, little bro." Lakis, annoyed, shooed him away. "Scram, scram, scram, don't bother me while I'm handling important business." Just then, the system notification window popped up, catching Lakis's attention. You have defeated 1 Yoni turtle. You have received the longevity attribute, longevity plus 1 year, longevity plus 1. What the hell kind of attribute is this? Wait a minute, why is there a red exclamation mark below the notification? Let's try clicking it. Afterwards, a new notification panel appeared. First time being cursed by the blood god. Longevity will be continuously weakened by 30 points on the hour. Longevity -1. Longevity -1. Remaining longevity 8. Lakis's expression changed drastically. He stared intently at the system panel and exclaimed in horror, "What kind of game is this A curse? Whether in this life or before, I transmigrated into this game. I've never heard of such a thing." Remaining longevity 8? What does that mean? 8 years, 8 months, or 8 days? Whatever it is, I can't let it hit 0. Lakis slumped to the ground. He trembled, thinking, but at this rate it'll hit 0 in just a few days. Even though I've made significant progress recently, there's no way I can clear this game in such a short time. Meanwhile, the man behind him saw Lakis's strange reaction and whispered suspiciously, "This kid seems to be interested in the farm. He's squatting there and not leaving. He must want to bargain, this sly fox. Watch how I handle you." And so he began his performance. He started weeping and telling a sob story. "Young master, I won't lie to you. My wife is gravely ill and my 16 children are crying from hunger, and because of those damn Ronin turtles, the harvest was a complete failure. I have no choice but to sell the farm at a low price if I can't get the money." Lakis was still thinking. Suddenly he caught the key phrase Yoni turtle. His eyes lit up as he turned back to the man saying he would buy his farm. It worked. The man was secretly overjoyed, but his face showed no sign of it. He maintained a sorrowful expression and named a price of just 4,000 gold coins. Lakit didn't even haggle, he just stuck out his hand to seal the deal. The man shook his hand and Lakit, being straightforward, immediately urged him, "Take me to the farm now." The man looked hesitant. He explained that the Senna farm is southwest of the Pheromone Manor. It's a 30-minute walk along a branch of the Sarah River. "I have to give my gravely ill wife her medicine, so I can't take you. Goodbye." Lakit was in a hurry, so he just left him with a word. Then he dashed off in the direction the man pointed. The man quickly shouted, "You haven't paid yet, kiddo." But Lakit didn't even look back, instead tossing an object to the man with the words, "No need for change," and then he kept running. The man caught the object Lakit threw. He looked at it and gasped in amazement, a gold plate. He squinted in the direction Lakit had run off, muttering, "This little toy is worth no less than 10,000 gold coins. So generous. Well, in that case, I wish you a very pleasant stay here." As Lakit ran, he thought to himself, "This isn't too bad. Who knows when the Sarah River Bridge will reopen anyway? I can stay here and hunt some Yoni turtles to secure my lifespan. I can build a relationship with the Lord as a farm owner, and maybe that will let me cross the bridge sooner. All in all, I need to speed up my progress." After running his heart out for a while, Lakit finally arrived at the location. He looked at the image of a palace on the deed, then at the actual makeshift shack, and grimaced. This is way too different from the blueprint. Lakit went inside the house. He walked through the rooms, starting his inspection. Even so, the interior wasn't bad at all. The floor was made of wood. There was a leather sofa, a kitchen, a bathroom, a bedroom, and a living room. It had everything you could ask for. It even had a fireplace to keep warm. My mother would have loved this for her old legs. He remembered his past life, cold in the winter and warm in the summer, in a tiny dilapidated 600-square-foot house. If only my parents had transmigrated here with me, that would have been amazing. At least I could have fulfilled my filial duties and let them live in a big house with fewer struggles than they had in the modern world I wouldn't even have to think about. Going back to reality, I'd just marry Dorothy and Zoe, make them my parents' daughters-in-law, and then we'd have 8 kids for sure. As if sensing Lakit's fantasy was getting a bit too wild, the system sent a notification to pull him back to reality. Ding, system reminder. Lifespan remaining 1. Lakit's eyes shot open. He clutched his head and groaned. Ugh, my bad habit of overthinking is kicking in again. Then he dashed out of the room. Yoni, turtles, I'm coming for you. A system notification popped up. Affected by the curse of the blood god, lifespan remaining approximately 1. Remaining lifespan 1. Laquette died a little inside. For 7 days he had searched every nook and cranny within a 100-mile radius. He had only been able to find a few yoni turtles. Furthermore, the lower his lifespan dropped, the faster it depleted. He was on the brink of death. Laquette couldn't help but scream. Weren't there supposed to be a ton of them? Why are they so scarce now that I need them? This damn game clearly set up an NPC to trick me. Just as Laquette finished speaking, a strange object fell from the sky. It turned out to be the little imp. The moment he saw it, Laquette immediately berated it. Where have you been these last few days? You must have known I was cursed, so you went to find a new master, didn't you? Oh, a wise bird chooses its tree. I understand, after all, you and I aren't. They had a bond, but if it already left, why did it come back? The poor little devil let out a series of pitiful cries. Then it tried to reach its tiny hand towards Laquette. Although he didn't understand the meaning of its gesture, he still took its hand. Just then, the system continuously announced the defeat of a Zoni turtle, granting lifespan. Lifespan +1. Remaining lifespan. Defeated 1. Elite. Zoni. Turtle received lifespan +5. Remaining lifespan 7. Defeated. A Zoni turtle lifespan +1 lifespan +3 lifespan +2 lifespan +7 lifespan +6. Just like that, the remaining lifespan of Laquette continuously increased, finally stopping at the number 276. It turned out the little devil hadn't disappeared these past few days to find a new master, but to hunt Zoni turtles to increase his lifespan. Laquette was both moved and felt guilty for having wrongly blamed the little devil. After transferring the lifespan to Laquette, the little devil finally couldn't hold on any longer and fell into a coma. Laquette hurriedly caught the little devil panicking and not knowing what to do. Hey, don't you die on me, crab. I don't know how to heal you. What can I do to save you? That's right. You were reborn because you drank my blood. Without a second thought, Laquette cut his hand and let the blood drip into the little devil's mouth. You have to wake up. I don't want you to die. Drink it, you little stinker. The little devil was unconscious, but when the drop of blood from Laquette entered its mouth, its eyes flew wide open. It then began to suck greedily on his finger. Laquette was overjoyed, because the little devil had woken up, but after a moment something felt off. Just a few seconds later, he had been completely drained by the little devil. Luckily, Laquette quickly activated his special skill Corpse Eater, which allowed him to recover quickly by consuming animal carcasses. He healed his wounds, then pulled out the stash of dried meat he kept on him and began to devour it hungrily. Otherwise, he would have been the first adventurer to die at the hands of his own pet. But he had to admit, the skill he obtained from defeating that hamburgery was truly very useful. Very quickly, Laquette's body was restored to its original condition. Only then was he in the mood to turn and lecture the little devil for a bit. Listen here, little devil, you can't go off acting on your own again, you hear me? Whatever happens, we'll handle it together. Showing off your skills isn't a good trait, but the little devil wasn't listening to a word he said. After eating its fill, it had already rolled over and fallen fast asleep. Laquette looked at the wounds covering the little devil's body and felt his heart soften. The words he wanted to say next got stuck in his throat. He picked up the little devil and muttered to himself, "Oh, forget it. Let's just go home and sleep."